This is about us quickly being able to turn, let's say, a soccer field into a shelter facility.
Manitoba's premier declaring a province-wide state of emergency over rapidly spreading wildfires.
Oh, God.
Roughly 17,000 people on the move.
This is a significant step we are taking to uphold our obligation to keep people safe.
Canoe says the Prime Minister has accepted a request for the Canadian Armed Forces to help with evacuation flights, taking people to Winnipeg, the province, promising food and housing when evacuees arrive.
This is a moment of fear and uncertainty. This is a moment of concern. But I want to tell you that your fellow Manitobans will welcome you.
Hot, dry weather and high winds pushed raging fires closer to communities Wednesday. Firefighters near the Manitoba-Saskatchewan border narrowly avoiding aggressive flames. The city of Flin Flon, home to about 5,000 people, the largest community under a mandatory evacuation order. Intense conditions have limited the resources sent to the fire, and officials say water bombers had to be grounded after a drone flew in the area. Residents of several northern First Nations also told to leave.
We didn't expect a massive evacuation or full evacuation, but now we are being told that we have to do it.
In Saskatchewan, the province's largest fire has burned more than 200,000 hectares after two smaller fires merged. More than 4,000 residents of Pelican Narrows forced to flee to evacuation centers in the south.
It was not comfortable for sure, because you don't know what to do and where to go.
Many of these evacuated communities are also extremely isolated. It could take 9 to 10 hours of driving to reach Winnipeg. And with dry and windy conditions in the forecast, officials are urging people to head south as quickly as possible. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Regina.
So let's talk with the man who declared that state of emergency, Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew. Thank you so much for joining us tonight from your office at the legislature. Premier, we're talking about 17,000 people who are going to be out of their homes. What does Manitoba need right now?
We need the transportation for these people to safety and the ability to put roofs over their heads for the time being when they're out of those homes. And so that's why we declared the state of emergency, so that we could quickly put in place those shelter facilities. Finding room and board for 17,000 people this quickly is certainly demanding that we all work together. And then, of course, when it comes to the transportation, folks are driving themselves out of some communities. Flin Flon is one example, but we also know that we're going to need air support for this. And so earlier this afternoon, I spoke to the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, and asked for the Canadian Armed Forces. And he was quick to respond in agreement and to say that he'd follow up with their departments. So it really is an example of all governments working together to keep people safe and make sure that they have a place to stay.
To what degree has the speed and the scale of this surprised you?
Well, just to give you a snapshot of this afternoon, we had one update before 3 o'clock near Flin Flon that said wind conditions were helping us, and then within an hour, you had the conditions on the ground change, and the mayor decided that they needed to move to an immediate evacuation. Flin Flon is a well-known community to many, so you're talking about 5,000 people in the city proper, maybe 6,000 counting some of the surrounding cottage areas and other homes in the region, who just like that were ordered to leave their homes, to pack what they needed, and to head here to Winnipeg. At the same time, some really large First Nations community within that same window of time also had to make the call to evacuate. And so we ran that up the chain to the Prime Minister and the federal government, and of course, coordinating with local municipalities, First Nations, us as a province. That's how we're working together.
It sounds like you might be in for a really rough summer. Hang in. Thank you very much, Premier.
Thank you.